This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Welcome to today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. I'm Roby Brock. We're glad to have you with us. Ryan Cox joins me. He is the founder and CEO of HatPonics, which he is going to explain to us what it is and how it works. Good to have you with us. Thank you so much for being here.
Really appreciate you having me on today. Thank you very much.
What does HatPonics stand for? What's the HAT?
Right, HatPonics is not a hat. It's Hydro Aqua Terra. HatPonics is a specialist organization for all types of sustainable agriculture.
And what we're talking about with what you have got going on, you're partnering with Heifer International. You are taking this level of agriculture to a different level.
That's correct.
Explain kind of what's at work here. We are seeing a transformation happening in agriculture around the world, and it's a lot different than machinery and technology just taking over farm fields. It's much more advanced than that.
Yes, so first off, we're very grateful for the opportunity to work with Heifer International. The mission that they have not only here in Little Rock but abroad is amazing. That they are dedicating their entire lives to feeding people, and it perfectly aligns with HatPonics, with our mission to feed 20 million people by 2020. And what we're doing is we're actually bringing the world's first zero carbon footprint controlled environment agriculture scenario to bear at the Little Rock site in Heifer International's urban farm location. What we've done is we've actually containerized an aquaponics farm. And aquaponics is the hybrid between hydroponics, which is soilless agriculture, and fish farming, which would be aquaculture, and we make aquaponics. So we actually use fish to raise the vegetables for the communities we're trying to serve.
This is so different than what I think a lot of people understand what agriculture is. Maybe give me a little bit of the history, the origin of how this has evolved and why this is becoming such a huge deal.
Well, so about 2,000 years ago, right, they put fish in the fields where they were growing rice, and then in the Chinapas of Latin America, they used fish to grow raised beds, so their waste would actually be the perfect fertilizer, right? It's immediately consumable by plants. It's 100% organic. It's 100% natural. It's the way things used to be. Well, what we've tried to do is really revolutionize what used to be and transition that into modern hydroponic farming techniques. So what we've done is implemented large bays of just water that is fertilized by fish. And in this ecosystem, what we're doing is we're using the plants to clean the water for the fish and the fish to fertilize the plants. So they need each other to grow. But the nice part is the waste byproduct of all this organic vegetable food is fish. And everybody likes a nice striped bass, right? So,
what are you doing over at Heifer? What's the scope of that project?
Well, we want to make sure everything stayed nice and local. And there's a local fish farmer, Mike Freeze at Keogh Fish Farms, that raises hybrid striped bass. And we wanted to keep the attention of all the 5-year-olds out there, including the really grown-up ones like myself, when they get a nice big bass out of the tank, as well as the little kids, because they like to get splashed when they eat. It's also a really good dinner plate fish, right? So it's something that you can eat, something that not everybody has, and it's local. Yeah. So we will be raising hybrid striped bass right from here in Arkansas in that facility.
All right. What's your background? I mean, how did you get into all of this? So.
Oh, well, I grew up on a farm. I grew up on a dairy farm in Ashland, Ohio, and I've basically been trained all over the world in how to satisfy sustainable communities. My background itself, I'm an Ohio State Buckeye. You don't have to hold that against me.
I know I'm not hold that against you.
I know I'm in Arkansas, but go Buckeyes. Whoop, whoop. I did root for the Razorbacks, though.
That's good. Yeah. Just not in the Sugar Bowl a few years ago when y'all stole that victory from us. But other than that, we'll come back to that a little bit later.
And cut, he says, right? So the idea became, I was actually watching a movie with Angelina Jolie. She had, this movie Beyond Borders came out, and she was spending $5 million to send 5 trucks of beans and rice to Ethiopia. And these big gala event parties, and I was like, well, that's ridiculous. Why wouldn't we just send them a farm? And that light turned on in my head, and I said, you know what, I think I need to send them a farm. And so I had to invent it. The only sustainable way we could do that without having to supply chemicals and fertilizers and tractors and equipment, and not necessarily being able to help the same group over and over and over again in different locations around the world. It had to be modified so that it could actually control the environment, control the water, control all of the aspects of the farm itself. So what it is, it's a shipping container that serves as a fish tank. It's 40 foot long, holds about 1,600 to 2,000 fish at a time, and that powers a 50-foot controlled environment agriculture greenhouse. All fully automated, all temperature controlled, so you can literally grow the same food in the desert that you could grow right here in Little Rock, that you could grow in Central Africa, in those areas of the world. Yeah. And so HatPonics is proud to have deployed to all of those areas, including Little Rock now. And the idea is that what we're bringing is a fully sustainable ecosystem. But what makes Little Rock incredibly special, it's the first time in the world that a farm has been taken completely off-grid. There is no diesel fuel, there is no electricity, there is no outside inputs to any of this farm. It's 100% run using solar and wind power. The full off-grid capacity of this farm makes it so that if we're working with companies or countries like Heifer does internationally, often they're in areas that are, they're not urban.
Sure.
They're incredibly remote.
Right.
The power structure is a candle. And so what we're able to bring to bear is we can revolutionize this food system right on site at their location, growing food that they would eat, and we provide economic development, because if you're growing enough food to feed 150 to 200 people every day for the rest of their lives, there's some to sell. And then you've got an improved nutritional value. So this impact is huge, because what we're able to do is bring a farm to a farmer who before was struggling with increasing temperatures, lack of clean water, lack of infrastructure, and we're simplifying that all the way down to just what the farm needs to survive.
Are you going to replicate and ramp up what you're doing with this aquaponics farm right here, or do you see other areas where you can diversify and do this independent, self-sufficient, but controlled environment in other situations? Because I've seen some of the farming where you have like an old skyscraper that has become, a wall of food that is grown and stuff like that. Are there some other things that you're going to do beyond just what you're currently at? So.
Yes, for sure. We're currently scaling the business. We've been incorporated in 2013, and over the past 5 years, we've developed and prototyped farms that are deliverable via C-130 aircraft, rail, truck, train, any way you can drag them, push them, pull them. We've been doing that for the past 5 years. Now that this farm has gone completely off-grid, and it's the first of its kind on planet Earth, which is a really amazing thing, right? I mean, literally to take all the way back to zero, right? So now farming is not a carbon offset. Now that we've gotten there, we're scaling. We're currently working with the government of Puerto Rico, the government of the Dominican Republic, trying to assist areas that are also in desperate need of food, but they really need the jobs. They really need to have that economic development. You can give a man a fish, but if you teach a man to fish, you feed him for his whole life. Well, if you teach him to farm a couple extra, you can also feed his family and put some money in his pocket, and that's important. So by scaling this out into these different areas, we found that food deserts across the United States, areas that are within no car and no access to supermarkets, heavily urban populated areas are definitely benefiting from what we're doing. We're currently working on a few projects in Atlanta where they're right downtown, because the footprint's so small. We're only talking 40 foot wide by 50 foot long. So this can go in an abandoned schoolyard, this can go in an abandoned parking lot, this can go in directly inside of a community, a housing project. This can go inside of an upscale condominium project, because there's no difference between the impoverished need to eat and the wealthy need to eat, right? So that's one thing that kind of keeps us all together. If you're wearing clothes or you ate breakfast today, you're involved in agriculture somehow. Yeah. So in that case, it's not delineated per class.
All right, it's interesting stuff. His name is Ryan Cox. The company is HatPonics. You can check it out at the campus of Heifer International in Little Rock. But I got a feeling you're going to be seeing it maybe in a community near you sometime soon.
I hope so.
Good
Thank
to
you,
see you,
Roby.
Ryan. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
That's all for today's program. I'm Roby Brock. We'll see you next time.
You'll find us at the end of a lot of long country roads, covering over 60% of the great state of Arkansas. Our 17 electric distribution cooperatives are working day and night to provide reliable, affordable power to over 500,000 homes, farms, and businesses, just like yours. The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, your local energy partners.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us.
Oh, I love you too, sweetie.
Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.